How can someone become the Pope? Technically, you just need to be a Catholic man, but it's not as simple as it seems. The Holy See does not post a job offer on LinkedIn. Reaching the very top is a quite complex process. This is a list of the 264 popes that have existed, and here we have Pope Urban VI, who died in 1389. He was the last pontiff elected without being a cardinal. Since then, all popes have been cardinals at the time of their election, which in practice makes being a cardinal an almost indispensable requirement. The ones who choose the next pope are the cardinals, so it's almost certain they will select one of their own. So, what is the path to becoming pope? First of all, you need to be part of the 50.3% of the global population that was born male, and then you must become Catholic, meaning you have received the 3 sacraments of Christian initiation: baptism, Eucharist, also known as communion, and confirmation. If you haven't completed this 3rd step, I doubt you will embark on the next journey, which begins with becoming a priest. To become a priest, you will need to study for generally 2 years of philosophy and 3 years of theology, depending on the diocese. It's possible that you will need an additional year of preparatory school and another year after studies until you receive the 2nd degree of the priestly order. Additionally, you must meet other requirements, like celibacy, but this is only the beginning. Being a priest and having a church is nothing special, as there are a total of 407,000 priests worldwide. So, you decide to ascend to become a bishop, but this is a rather complicated process, so much so that it has an extensive Wikipedia article that, of course, you won't read, so let me summarize it. You need to be 35 years or older and have worked for at least 5 years as a priest. You must have a good reputation, firm faith, good customs, piety, and lastly, you will generally need a doctorate in sacred scripture, theology, or canon law. Once you meet the requirements, you will need to wait for a bishopric to become available, as there aren't many. There are 407,000 priests, but only 5,300 bishops worldwide. In Spain, for example, there are only 50 diocesan bishops and 16 archbishops. To continue on your path, a bishop must either retire at the age of 75 or pass away. Here comes the even more complicated part. You cannot formally apply to be a bishop. You must be appointed. But who is responsible for this? Many people. The bishops of nearby areas continually make a list of possible candidates, which they update at least once every 3 years. When a vacancy opens, the bishops send their list to the apostolic nuncio, who is a representative of the Holy See in foreign countries, like an ambassador. He is responsible for reviewing the list and investigating the candidacies by consulting various sources, such as the outgoing bishop, other bishops in the region, and the clergy. When his investigation is complete, he will select 3 final candidates and send these suggestions along with his research to the dicastery for bishops in Vatican City. The dicastery can conduct more inquiries, request additional information, or occasionally ask for a new list of candidates. Once they have determined who should be the bishop, the dicastery makes its recommendation to the Pope, who makes the final decision. If the Pope does not like the candidate, another search will begin. But if the Pope is happy with the recommendation, congratulations! You are now a bishop. However, moving from a church to a cathedral is still not enough, so you decide to keep rising until you become a cardinal. But this will not be a real promotion, as cardinals are almost always bishops, only they have more important roles, like electing the new pope. Out of the 237 current cardinals, only 46 are from Spanish-speaking countries, with Spain leading, followed by Argentina and Mexico. This shows how truly difficult it is to become a cardinal, and the final step remains, becoming pope. To do this, you will need to wait for one to pass away or retire, though this rarely happens. Then the election will begin. Of the 237 cardinals, only 127 are of voting age, so they will gather in a process called a conclave. They will meet in the Sistine Chapel, with the doors closed and guarded by the Swiss Guard. A security system is implemented to prevent leaks, using detectors to search for hidden microphones. Newspapers, radio, and television are prohibited. Wi-Fi is completely blocked, and wireless signal jammers are deployed to prevent any form of electronic communication with the voting cardinals. Once everything is in order, the voting begins. Each day, up to 4 votes are held, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. For a pope to be chosen, a minimum 2/3 majority must be reached. If no result is obtained after 3 days of voting, the process is suspended for 1 day. They will continue with 7 votes, then 1 day of rest, then another 7 votes and a day of rest. After that, only the 2 names with the most votes in the last round can be chosen in a second round, still requiring a 2/3 majority. So, what happens during the weeks, months, or years when there is no pope? This is called sede vacante, and to avoid a power vacuum, there are detailed rules about what must be done. The Holy See is administered by a regency of the College of Cardinals, but in a very limited manner. Back to the elections. The votes of the cardinals are cast via ballots. Each time a vote fails to achieve the 2/3 required, these ballots are burned in the fire, and black smoke comes out of the chimney due to the chemicals added. When the new pope is finally chosen, the ballots are burned as well, but the smoke will be white, as different chemicals are added. Then comes the moment of choosing your papal name. There have been 81 papal names, 37 of which have been repeated. If you want to be original, you can choose a new name like Pope Francis. Though your name may be Pope Francis, your full title will be His Holiness. And once you've chosen your name, congratulations, you're the Pope, the Bishop of Rome. But this won't be your only title. Here's where the confusion begins. To simplify extremely, in 1929, Benito Mussolini granted the Holy See the territory of Vatican City. The Holy See is a legal entity, and the Pope is the one who administers it. Vatican City is an independent country, and the Holy See governs it, making the Pope also the head of state of Vatican City. Though technically a monarch, since it's an absolute monarchy, in the world, there are only 5 remaining absolute monarchies: Saudi Arabia, Brunei, Oman, and Swaziland, with Vatican City being the last absolute monarchy in Europe. This very issue, the lack of democracy, prevents Vatican City from joining the European Union, unlike the other absolute monarchies, which are hereditary. The Vatican is the only one in the world that is selective. As an absolute monarch, all important decisions about its administration and operations pass through him. Clearly, Vatican City has a government formed by cardinals, but the monarch has the power to change any decision made. Then, there are the international relations, which are maintained with the Holy See and not with Vatican City. The same applies to the United Nations, which has 193 member states and 2 observer states. The Holy See is one of those observers. Vatican City is more or less a country like the rest. Who are its citizens? Unlike most countries, which grant citizenship based on jus sanguinis, citizenship by parentage, or jus soli, citizenship by birthplace, in Vatican City, citizenship is granted by ius officii. Among them are the approximately 135 Swiss Guards, which brings us to the second peculiarity: its defense. The Swiss Guard is the smallest professional army in the world, and it was founded by Pope Julius II in 1506 to protect the Holy See and the Pope. And perhaps now you have one more question. What is the Pope's salary? If you're looking for money, I'm afraid to tell you that the Pope does not receive any salary. His living expenses and other needs are covered by the Holy See. Furthermore, Pope Francis, being a member of the Jesuit order, took a vow of poverty, unlike most popes. If you've made it this far and learned something new with our stories, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos.